Hi, I'm Jenny Miller of Let's Get Sewing. Are you ready to take the fear and frustration out of your sewing experience and finally get to work? Then you are in the right place. Be sure to click subscribe so that you don't miss any of my tips and tutorials to help take your sewing journey to the next level. And now, let's get sewing. Today I'm going to be talking about my sewing room because I recently upgraded my sewing space and am really enjoying the new changes that I've made. So I wanted to share those with you and hopefully give you a few tips or ideas that you can incorporate into your sewing space. Now, I completely understand that not everybody has a dedicated sewing room, and for 20 some odd years, neither did I. This room happens to be my daughter's old bedroom. My kids are grown and moved out now, and so I moved in. But my sewing space has been in my bedroom. It's been in our unfinished basement. It has been on my dining room table, wherever I had space for many years. So kind of taking advantage of my empty nest status and moved into this room where I have plenty of great lighting and a really nice size for sewing in. So let me give you a little tour of it. First, I thought I'd better show you the before video. You can see my ironing board sat on top of my daughter's old dresser, and I just had these two short folding tables that I would sew on. Here's my cutting area and where I film everything. But the tables just weren't long enough. I had to move machines back and forth just to have room to fit my fabric and sewing projects and use them one at a time. So a new table was the first order of business. Welcome to my new sewing room. Well, same old sewing room, new setup. You noticed here before I had a big dresser and I just had the ironing board sitting on top of it, which was kind of nice, except I had to take the ironing board off anytime I needed to drape something all the way across. So we moved the dresser out of here into our guest bedroom. Now the ironing board is sitting free and easy to move around or put away if I need the extra room. I had all of my ironing supplies like my sleeve board, my pressing cloths, hem gauges, things like that in the drawers below in that dresser. So what I ended up doing, a lot of the things that I kept in this cabinet are now in my drawers here, and I moved all of my ironing supplies into this drawer here. So I've got my tailor's ham and seam roll and yeah, all sorts of fun stuff in there. The next thing that we changed are my sewing tables. So before I had two folding tables sitting here, each of them I think about 4 feet long. One of them was a really old heavy wood one. The other one was a lighter plastic one, but neither one of them really ideal. And especially because I had my embroidery machine on the lighter weight plastic one, the whole table would jiggle a lot when I was doing machine embroidery. So I'm glad to have a more sturdy table for that. The first thing that my husband noticed when we brought this desk in is that it brightened up the room because this is white and the table that was here before was a really dark brown with torn fake wood on top, and it was just kind of gross. So now we have this nice bright table. It's reflecting a lot more light into the room, just adding to the lighting that I need to have when I'm sewing. But beyond that, the two tables were each 4 feet long. And so I had my sewing machine and serger on one table, and if I wanted to use the computer or anything, I was always pushing the serger back. I also had to push the serger back to have room to stretch fabric out here. Now I have plenty of room here for my sewing machine, plenty of room here for my serger, and I can still have my laptop out when I need it, and I can put it away if I need this space while I'm using my serger. And then of course, a whole bunch of new drawers, which is wonderful. All of these came from IKEA, and I will try to put in the description which pieces we used if you're curious. This is a separate table now, and this is just a 4-foot table, but I put it back into the corner. My embroidery sewing machine can sit here, and I can do all of my embroidery tucked back out of the way and nice and neat. And then I moved my hemming machine over to here, and it might look funny on the end of this table, but I can roll my chair right into here, do the hemming that I need. I don't do large amounts of hemming at a time, so it's just really slick to slip in there, hem up a pair of pants, and then I'm done. The last section of my sewing room is, of course, my cutting table. And my cutting table is still a folding table, but cutting tables don't take as much vibration. They don't have the weight of the sewing machines on them. This has worked for me for years and I really like it. It is, I believe, 6 feet. I got it at Costco, just a plain folding table, but you'll see what I did down here is then I bought PVC pipe and cut them 4 of them to the same length and put the legs of my table down into the PVC pipe to lift my table up to the height that I need, because a good height for a cutting table is about belly button height so that you're not leaning over too far and you're not reaching up too far. And so that keeps my table at just the right height. Then of course on my sewing table I have my cutting mat, which is just a plastic gridded cutting mat made specifically for sewing. And under here I have my galvanized sheet metal for my magnetic pattern weights. If you don't know about those, see my previous YouTube video from about a week ago. I'll try to put the link in the caption so that you can check that out as well. Everything else that you see here is equipment that I use when I'm filming my videos for you. So I have to be able to work my room around that equipment as well, but it ends up working out pretty nicely. So far, I am really enjoying my sewing room. So if you have any other questions about what I've done in here, what I've used, or how you could set up your sewing room or sewing space better if you don't have a dedicated room, of course, that's absolutely fine. But I can give you lots of tips and answers about that. Just post in the comments whatever questions you have. And now, let's get sewing.